Greetings, heroes and Force users of all ages. Welcome back to Inside the Tauntaun, a podcast in the multiverse of fandom. I'm Alyssa Simmons, and I'm joined today by my pal, Daniel Dawson.
Hello there.
And today, we're talking about episodes 2 through, 8, 9, 10? How many of them were there?
I don't
Who
remember.
knows? There were 9 episodes 2 through 9, and just kind of a season wrap up of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, the Disney Plus Marvel series created by Jessica Gao. And by God, we're Marvel fans.
I don't know who you are or where you came from.
I am Iron
I thought they smelled bad. On the outside.
Smells like a new car in here.
Inside the Tauntaun, this is our opening song. Alyssa, Daniel, Dino, talking nerd stuff, come along. Inside the Tauntaun podcast, please like and subscribe.
Well, we did get back to She-Hulk.
We finally did it.
It's been a little busy inside this Tauntaun
It
with
was
all
very,
of the
very busy. Although not,
thousands of series.
we did have a, almost an hour-long conversation about Oklahoma. But that
We did. Prior to
we-
recording this, we
we should-
talked about the Oklahoma revival on tour.
We should have also
and
done a Tauntaun. I mean, we could have done an episode about that.
I will monologue about that for as long as anyone lets me, really. So
She didn't like it. Spoiler alert, she doesn't care for it.
I don't think so.
Um,
Our friend Cassie Simone, her review was nope, Oklahoma.
It's not for everybody.
It's not.
You know?
And that's okay.
I
The
know.
art is subjective.
Yes. I will say, though, if I had seen it on Broadway, I would have definitely loved the included cornbread and chili. That would have been nice.
Oh yeah. I mean any theater going experience is better with cornbread and
You
chili.
can always win me over with food. I will love
Yeah.
whatever it is if you give me food. Mhm.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Anyways, but we are
I
here.
really should put an
today.
asterisk next to that. I probably shouldn't say anything.
Anything. Yeah, don't get it twisted, listeners. Oh boy.
So
We're obviously without Dino.
Dino,
today.
where
So
are
I'm
you,
just
Dino?
I'm just going to assume that he, like a lot of the Marvel fan base, hates women.
Right, and that's why he
Um,
couldn't be here today.
That's why
That's why he
opted
couldn't.
out.
I do that with big quotation marks.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't record
Ow.
the She-Hulk episode.
I'm so busy.
All of that being said, why don't we start out with the she-man woman hater Daniel Dawson? Tell me your
Oh
general
my gosh.
thoughts.
Wait, what
General
was their
thoughts.
what was their saying on? Oh my god, I love
Little
the Little
Rascals?
Rascals. I freaking
Yeah.
loved that movie.
I don't know.
We are woman haters, alligators. I can't remember. Oh, I love it so much. So freaking cute.
A classic.
A classic. I will say that like the show felt like it was bookended with like really, really decent stuff. Like I remember the first episode, I was like, oh, this is gonna be kind of fun. Like I wasn't like necessarily like out loud funny haha, but like I was like, I'm a chuckle, good time. And then and then it wasn't for a while, and then I was like, huh, this is interesting. And then the end it took like such a giant 180-degree turn. It was such a wonderful surprise. And I mean, I don't know, it shouldn't have been a surprise because like that's like, well, I think what was surprising about it is because I was hoping that they were going to do that earlier, and then it was going to be like, and I don't know, maybe that joke would have gotten old like throughout the show, and maybe that's what they were worried about. But and there was obviously, assumedly a reason that they saved it for the very end, but I'm kind of wishing that they didn't. But that being said, I loved it. It was so like abrupt and abrasive, and I was just like, yes, you are the voice of the audience. You are saying exactly what we have been saying for this entire season. Thank you. And it was funny. It was funny because it was very, I mean, it was obviously like, pointing the camera right back at us, and being like, this is exactly, like, we know what you're saying, like, which is spooky, but like, but yeah, So yeah, generally I think if I'm gonna put a general
If you
feeling
had
on it,
if you had to give it your Rotten Tomatoes
no,
score.
we're calling these tauntauns. I don't know why we've never done this before, but yeah, me and Dino.
Rotten Tauntauns.
The Rotten Tauntauns. Yeah, we didn't say Rotten Tauntauns, but I kind of like that better. Yeah, it's just like a deceased, like sliced
score.
open, like tauntaun. Yeah, Rotten
Yeah.
Tauntauns. I would not give it a fresh tauntaun. Yeah, I would give it I would give it a sensible maybe 2 tauntauns out of 5 for me. Like the season as a whole.
Like percentage wise, what would you?
Percentage wise, I would give it a. Well, here's the thing. So like when I look at Rotten Tomatoes scores, like I generally speaking, if it's like 75 or above, you're probably gonna like it. Like even if you don't really care for the subject matter, you're probably gonna enjoy it to some degree. If it's like 60 or above, then like you have to be interested in the subject matter. Otherwise, you're definitely not gonna like it. Anything below that, it's going to be garbage. Like Black Adam, for instance. I heard it was literally the worst movie that ever was made. I haven't seen it yet. Going to wait for it to be,
an at-home watch.
Yeah, I think so. So for this.
So what would you score?
Long story short, I think I would put this at like a 65%.
Okay.
Yeah. So like a very solid D.
All right.
I think so. It seems very harsh, but I just like there is if you were gonna have me judge the show off of just like the first and the last episode, it would be much higher. It would be like maybe in the high 70s potentially.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is that you hate women.
Correct. I hate them so much. That's why I'm gay.
I knew it.
It's all because of the She-Hulk.
Oh.
That's a very general thought, but
all right.
We can dig into it more and more. What about you, though?
I really enjoyed myself. I as I've mentioned on here before, I've read almost all of the She-Hulk comics.
Yeah, you were the most prepared for the show out of the three of us.
Yeah, and I think that they got the general vibe of the comics into the show.
Do you think that like it maintained that throughout the season, or was it just like there were like certain parts of it that did?
So here's what I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we have not.
What do you think?
I think that, and then it just flatline. Alyssa, oh my god,
we'll never know.
I think that we have not had other than Miss Marvel, we've seen it a bit with Wanda.
Yeah.
Perhaps we're going to see it more with this new Captain America film.
Potentially.
With a new Captain America in the suit with the shield. I think I'm going to make a broad general statement.
For a broad.
Get it? Women jokes.
We're full of them.
I'm going to make a broad statement about Marvel viewers of things. I think that they're not as comfortable watching origin stories in long form.
Sure.
I think that they've gotten real comfy with the films, which are like, we really get maybe like 10, 15 minutes of a character origin.
Yeah.
And then we're going straight into the action.
Yes.
Now, in comic books, if you're interested in potentially getting into comic reading,
and you should be, because it's
awesome. A fun time.
Yeah.
They take a long time letting us get to know these characters in their origin stories.
Yes.
It's not a one book and then they're flash boom bang into action. I mean, sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is. But like any any book or novel or story, we have a more interesting relationship with these characters if we have some time with them prior to them being full-blown
Yeah.
superheroes.
Getting to know who they are.
Yeah.
What makes them tick.
So I think that Marvel viewers have gotten real comfy with this like fast origin movie
We're spoiled.
experience because you have to do that for movies.
Sure.
But for TV shows, you can have a little bit more time.
Sure.
And so I think what this season was, which as a viewer as well, I had to keep reminding myself, this season was really Jen coming to grips with this new part of her life. And there were parts of it that were comical. There were parts of it that were kind of that like tonally were like sad and spooky and tricky. And so for a show that's like, brand new characters for people, that can be challenging because they're like, okay, well, what is the tone of this show?
Yes. Well, it's interesting.
But really the tone of this show was her origin story.
Yeah. And I was going to say too that like I'm what I'm kind of realizing as you're talking is that I liked the ending. I know that the ending was kind of like a hit or miss for a lot of people. It was a hit for me personally, but the end of the show and I don't know because I'm not a writer and I kind of wish I was, but I don't know if I really have that in me. But the joke of the end of the show, like this whole meta going in and being like, what's this? Oh, let's take that out, put this in. Like none of those jokes really land unless you were able to show
all of the other stuff
that
before.
led up to it. Yeah, like the Hulk blood like thing where she's just like, get rid of that. And she's like, it's like sounds way too much like the super soldier serum anyways.
The thing is exactly what you're saying. The thing is the parts that were like kind of like confusing about the meat of the show were intentionally confusing.
I think that maybe then it's like, and I'm not sure, and you have actually read the comic, so I would be curious to know like because she is like almost immediately talking to the audience, right? Like breaking the fourth wall and like kind of breaking the
in Sensational She-Hulk, yes. In Savage She-Hulk, no. The original series was not as self-aware. It was not meta. She didn't talk to the audience.
But so this version is obviously trying to lean into.
This is leaning into the 80s and 90s run by John Byrne, the Sensational She-Hulk.
And I feel like maybe had there been a little bit more of her of her commentary on the actual story structure throughout.
Yes, and that is
it might have been hit harder.
I totally agree with that. I think they were I think they were trying to figure out
story? I mean, I know she had a couple of times like
she had a few moments, like
why are we doing this?
Right before the I think it was like the penultimate, your favorite.
Yeah.
I think it was episode 8. Yeah, it was Ribbit and Rip It with the frog character.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and at the end of that episode, she was like, "Wait, are you kidding me? Like that's where the finale is going? Like what the heck?" Yeah, I think you're right. I think they could have and again, we don't know, like what we don't know is that there could have been a million more of those talking directly to camera things, commentating on things that got cut from those from the other episodes for time or for just like, we've got one in the episode already. Do we need two? Like, there could have been stuff that there, and most likely there were absolutely things that got cut.
Yeah, they did.
That were of that nature.
But then there was some things they kept in that I felt like were like, probably at least for the story itself were probably unnecessary, but for the overall vibe of the show, I was hoping to see more of. Like
Yeah.
like for instance, the her like dream sequence where she was like in the 70s version of Hulk. Like
Yeah, and if you
was
if you
absolutely
haven't
or
seen,
the 80s version, was the 80s?
it was the 70s
So
TV
it was
show,
the
yeah.
70s, yeah. And
So if you haven't seen the shot for shot, like,
oh, do they do a
tweet or
side by
GIF
side
going around, they
comparison?
did a side by
Oh
side
my
of
god,
like
amazing.
all of them, because it was truly like shot for shot
It
of
is fucking perfect.
the 70s TV show.
See, I didn't even. I mean, I could tell that it was, but I like didn't know it was literally frame by frame, and it makes all the sense because it's just so ridiculous. And and they saved that for like so far into the show. Like I
the
want
finale.
I wanted to see more of that that feel throughout.
Well, maybe now that the cat's out of the bag, so to speak, if this
Sure.
does get picked up for a season 2, maybe there will be more of that, just because now that is what the show is.
Yes,
we've
now and there. Well, and she's got like a relationship of sorts with our good friend
with Matt
Daredevil.
Murdock. Yeah.
Which is hilarious and wonderful. That kind of stuff was great. Like oh my god, her line about freaking oh my
smashing
god,
him,
smashing Matt Murdock. I literally died. I was like, there was so much great writing in the finale.
Yeah.
I was just like, that
the
was
finale
funny.
the finale was so solid.
There was just like, I think that like the writing wasn't as quippy as the last episode was. Like there was just
I mean, the thing
funny
is, like,
it's
it's the same, essentially the same writing and directing team.
Yeah.
The whole season.
The whole seasons.
And I just thought, like, it was so brilliant how I mean, like, Marvel is smart, okay?
Yeah.
Kevin Feige is like, we've talked about it. Like, he's a freaking genius. So, like, they knew exactly how this show was going to be received.
Yeah. Yeah.
They knew exactly what the people who, well, I don't hate women, but ...
Well, because they're already going off of the history of the
exactly. They're
comics.
dealing with the comics. Like, they know what these misogynistic nerds are going to come back with.
Yes.
And so to have this whole, the woman hater club thing, it was I was rascals. Like, the whole finale, I was just like, holy
are
crap,
you listening to this?
This is so incredibly meta and smart, and to have her be the one that's like, you know what? No, this is my story. This is how we're gonna do this. Like, it felt,
which inevitably is kind of like
great.
her superpower, to be able to, like, I mean, like, if we're gonna like really talk about like the what this means for her character, like, she kind of was able to sort of jump. Like, are we gonna say that she's like in the same universe, or is it like, like, if we're talking about the grand MCU, because she does fit in that world, and more than likely will show up in, like,
of course,
big group events, no doubt. And she's very aware of all the other MCU events that have occurred so far, is what it sounds like. So, like, what does it mean, the fact that she, like, kind of broke the fourth wall,
is aware of the audience,
and also like, are we like in another, like, outside the universe looking in, or are we within the same universe? And, like, does Disney Plus exist within that universe? Is that sort of like a pocket universe? Did she break through into a pocket universe called Disney Plus and was able to break into another universe where the writer's room is? And I'm curious, this is not, I didn't present this thought. I actually saw this thought, I think on TikTok or some shit. Sure. But somebody surmised that perhaps Kevin is a construct of Kang.
Oh, okay.
Kind of very much like on par with the TVA.
Sure. No,
You know
I
what
think
I mean?
I think it's like she's a super interesting character to bring into things now, because, like, the multiverse has just been busted wide open.
Yeah. And she
like,
somehow has the ability to transverse at least a portion of it, it seems like. So it is very interesting. It like, you know, she's a funny character and it's a funny thing that she can do that, but like it sounds like people like Deadpool and her are like have this other power that like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, sky's the limit, honestly.
I'm excited to see if they actually do like try to you know, explain that. And if they don't, it's fine, but it would be cool. It would be very cool if they were able to somehow like, you know,
bring it in,
even if it was funny. It like it would be great if they had some sort of an explanation as to like how it actually fits into the MCU as a whole. Or if she just, you know, she's like the only special, like Deadpool and her are the only special ones that are able to do this, and it's just for funny ha-has, you know.
Yeah, it could be. It's yeah, but we're talking broad stuff now, which is totally fine.
We're talking broad stuff.
We're talking broads
because she's her.
But yeah. So I guess I'll give my score.
And she's also got broad shoulders.
She does.
She's got broad shoulders for a broad.
Yeah. One thing that I will say,
if we're talking broadly,
if we're only talking broadly, our friend James Larson, he and I were talking about the show.
I miss him so much.
A few days ago.
He's very tall.
And he's very tall. And his he really liked the show. And he said my one thing, and he's like, with her being so self-aware about everything, and he's like, I guess they kind of did do it in the whole dating episode with her being like, why do men only like She-Hulk and not Jen?
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I almost wish they would have just like literally straight up been like talked about the fact that when she's in her She-Hulk form, she's like this hypersexualized, like, you know, like her boobs are giant, her hips, like she's got this teeny tiny waist and hips, and like, and he's like, since the show was so meta, he's like, I really wish they would have just at least like said something about that.
Yes.
He's like, he said, you know, she did as much in the whole like, well, men don't like Jen, they like She-Hulk. But he's like, I think they could have just like really been even more like, you know, upfront with it and had her be reacting to the fact that like, oh, okay, well, like, you know, obviously like some man was responsible for the look of my She-Hulk form because, and then I was talking to him.
That would have been funny.
Yeah, or like even with the designer who made all of the She-Hulk,
like back in the comics
stuff. No, the designer character.
Oh, sorry.
On
yes,
the show.
Right. Yes.
Like there could have been a line to him like, okay, well, like, why does Captain America get like a badass like armor suit, or Daredevil or anybody like?
Yeah.
But like I'm in like short booty bike shorts and a tank top.
Yes.
With cleavage. Like there could have been a comment like that. Which would have just really, really made the woke police so mad.
I did like the speaking about her overall look too, like also waiting until the last second to comment on the CGI, or sometimes the lack of CGI, like
yes, exactly. Like, oh, is like turn the camera away, it'll be cheaper if you transform. Like
I
off
fucking
camera.
loved
that.
I was
great.
Like, I mean, like I know maybe that you know that comedy would have gotten old over time, but if you had set that up earlier, I think that people might have been a little more forgiving throughout
possibly,
potentially,
yeah, possibly.
Or maybe not. But but also like I think they said they moved on to other the CGI team moved on to other projects.
Yeah,
like
so good.
I mean, assumedly that they're talking about Wakanda, but
sure.
I think that's so damn funny. Also, while you were talking, I quickly looked up the actual Rotten Tomato score for She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Do you know what it is?
I don't.
So for the overall season, at least from what I'm seeing here, is do you want to take a guess?
I'm gonna guess they gave it a 68.
It's an 85%.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 85%, in fact. And
Interesting.
yeah, it is interesting to me, and I'm wondering if this is like is this the full score details? It says 85%. I'm looking for because usually they have like here we go, a consensus. So this is what the critics' consensus was.
Okay.
Whether she's fighting bad guys, defending a client, or managing her messy social life, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, passes the bar for binge-worthy viewing. And honestly, I think maybe that, for me, I think I would have preferred to binge watch it. Watching it week to week.
Just do it all in like one day.
Yeah, honestly, because I think because then you would get the first and the last joke
You would get the bookends
faster,
there.
and it would and it would be like, that was funny because you get the whole joke.
Yeah.
Like quicker. It took
that's fair.
It took
That's fair.
numerous weeks, and maybe it was just a little too I do enjoy a long what do you call it? The long joke, whatever that's called, But I just wish I got it a little sooner. Do you want to know what the audience score was? I mean, it's not even really worth talking about because people are stupid and they're just going to there's bots and bots galore.
Yes, of course.
But the average audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is 34%.
Okay.
Which is
that.
absolutely ridiculous. That's silly. And of course, you know what that means though. It's not people. From what I understand, the way it works is that they're not actually doing a percentage. Like each person that's rating it is not like I graded an 85. It's literally showing like the percentage of people that liked it. So that means that like 34% of people on Rotten Tomatoes, that the average audience people liked it. So that means that the other people, like, it was either a yay or a nay, basically.
Right.
And that's the same thing I think with the critics too. It's like, did they like it? Because you'll read through some of like the like the good, like where it's like it was a fresh tomato, and they'll say like, it was fine. Or someone will be like, oh my god, I loved it so much. But it's regardless, it's just it's either a fresh or a rotten. They don't really do any like in betweens. Yeah.
So I think honestly my score for the show would be pretty similar to not the fan score, but the Rotten Tomatoes. I think I would give it like an 86, 87.
Yeah. I would kind of like, and I feel like 65 is probably like really being too harsh, because the first and last episodes were super super great for me. Like they definitely worked, and like if I'm more basing it off of that, I think like I said, I would have raised the score to at least a 75, at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the show had some like fantastic supporting characters in it. I loved Jen's best friend.
Yeah. They're all great.
Who was Ginger Gonzaga, who played Nikki Ramos.
We didn't get a lot of real information on Tatiana, but I mean, I think again that was, and I kind of wish that they had again commented on that, like why.
Yeah, like that was a plot line that we were just like
completely dropped.
This is like, she was a fun character from the books, but like let's move on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
like, we don't have enough time or money for that. Let's move on.
Yeah, in the comics, she's like a major like foe of Jen's,
right,
recurring.
Yes.
So she kind of makes her life really tricky. I thought that Wong was so funny and all of his recurring stuff in this. I thought that
and also now he has like I don't know
now
if it's
his
a girlfriend
sidekick
or not, but like
his sidekick girl, what was her name?
She's so fucking random. And
what was her name?
She comes back
so
with the beating
funny.
heart, and she's just like, whatever, blah blah blah, and just like met the devil.
Madison with two N's.
So
yeah,
silly.
That girl, give her an Emmy.
So
she was great.
Silly. Oh man.
yeah, really, really enjoyed her.
Very
I thought
casually,
that
potentially like introducing Mephisto, maybe.
maybe we'll see. Could
Yeah.
be another Mephisto. The long line of Mephisto
Did you
redirects.
hear the news? Well, I guess it's not news. It's rumor news, but it's still
Okay.
like news nonetheless that there is
Mhm.
a rumor going around that oh my god, why am I forgetting his name? The guy who played Borat, or is Borat, I should just say.
Oh yes, I did see that rumor
You did.
going around.
Yes. Good
Yeah.
old what's his tits. I love this man. I think he's just so freaking funny. That he is potentially slated to, or maybe he's being flirted with the idea to play Mephisto for future
There you go.
productions.
There you
I
go.
think they would. Oh, I think they even said what show it would be.
What is his name? Sacha
Baron Cohen.
Baron Cohen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was it for an upcoming film or was it an upcoming show? Shoot, I'm gonna look it up because it was interesting. I was just like, and because I also they're like where they're gonna introduce Mephisto was like, really? That's where it is. Hold on, Sacha Baron Cohen, and we're gonna put Mephisto. It's like the fifth thing down.
Sure.
During the MCU, bibbidi bobbidi boo. This is from Deadline.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's Ironheart. Of all things,
Okay.
which
All right.
is interesting. Although I think that there is precedent, and I think I understand why, if that is what they're gonna do. The Ironheart is fighting against this his like her foe in this is like a guy who uses like mystical like powers, like it's basically like her like, I made these with my own two hands, like, and
Sure.
metal and, whips and boops. And like this other guy is using like mystical dark arts to like as his weaponry. So my guess is that maybe this guy got like, they're going to say that he got his powers with like a deal with the devil or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Just putting that out there. We'll see.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't it be nice? It feels like
some
we're
of
kinda... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay.
That's not
some of the characters that we got on the show, even if it was for brief moments with them, that were exciting to see if you've read the She-Hulk comics, were the characters that attack Jen in the alley.
Yes.
And they have the like stolen Asgardian tools.
Right.
They are called the Wrecking Crew.
Right.
And they're
I remember hearing
they're
about
this criminal group that gives her a lot of issues.
There's also a delightful video
And-
game from the 80s.
The Wrecking Crew?
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, fun.
It definitely wasn't related at all. Like,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I
It's like
loved
a Mario
the...
adjacent character.
Yes. I loved David Pasquesi as Mr. Immortal
Yes.
in that whole plot line of all of his ex-wives
So
coming
funny,
to sue him really tickled me.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, and then Man Bull was super silly. The whole hippie retreat thing. All of those characters were characters in the She-Hulk comics.
Mhm.
So we got Man Bull, we got El Aguila, we got the vampire Saracen,
Right.
the porcupine.
So random.
So
And I love that they
so
like
bizarre.
he just smells so bad.
Yeah.
Like, oh, put your mask back on. Oh my god.
And then in the post-credits scene, we have a new Hulk family member here.
Yeah, that was kind of a very subtle but not so subtle. I love that too, that like, she made a deal with Kevin, like, no, we don't need that, like,
we don't need other male characters to come in.
It's interesting that he did it anyway. He's just like at the very end, he's just like, oh no, we have to have this.
Sorry, that was already in the script.
Yeah.
So we made it happen.
And they came, which was so random. Oh, and here's my son.
Oh, here's my son. So if you're
Scar, is that right?
Yes. His name is Scar.
With 2 A's. Scar.
2 A's. Scar, not Scar like in Lion King.
Well, we don't know that yet. could,
Um,
that it's possible.
it's just the Lion King character.
Yeah. It's not
So
confirmed.
yeah, that'll be interesting to see what they do with him
Yeah.
moving forward.
And showing, because I mean, it's an existing character, right? Like, it's not like a
Yes.
brand new thing. Like, and even it's from what I understand, it's kind of like, it feels like they're like slowly painting a picture. I'm not sure if they're gonna go that way, but oh God, what was it called? Is it called Hulk Wars or Civil War?
Yeah, it's called the oh, I have it right here. Hold on. The World War Hulk.
There it is, World War Hulk.
Yeah.
And they're kind of potentially slowly, broadly painting that picture.
Yeah, and there's been there's been rumor that like Silver Surfer might be coming into MCU.
Oh,
and
interesting.
And Scar and Silver Surfer and Galactus
They're buddies.
have got a big history there. So, yeah, here's just a very brief little blip on Scar.
Oh, good.
If you're like, who the H is that guy?
Like me. Thank you.
So this is on just marvel.com. So this is his character bio. He was born fighting for his life amidst fire and pain in the savage world of Sakaar.
Right.
The half Hulk, half Shadow warrior Scar raises an angry sword against those who threaten his people and desires the power to destroy his enemies.
Dang.
Yeah, so he's gamma spawned, and old power heritage grant him superhuman strength. He can lift at least 90 tons.
Oh my God! Speaking of gamma radiation, like this is so appropriate. Like this news came in like fairly recently, but like apparently Earth was just hit with like a huge amount of gamma radiation. So we're
all going to be Hulks.
We're potentially all going to be
now.
Hulks. Yeah, at any second. So stay tuned.
Yeah, he's got Scar has got some pretty like cool powers. He can manipulate stone and rock and like levitate boulders and stuff.
Oh,
so that's cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because he's half
Sakaarian.
He's half Shadow Warrior. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
neato. That's
yeah. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, Hulk's like lover was
So here's the family
tree.
history, family drama. So on Earth, Scar didn't find peace as an encounter with the Fantastic Four, She-Hulk, and Hammer, Hammer, forced Norman Osborn to bomb the battlefield, seemingly killing him in the process.
Right. And
Scar didn't die that day, but he learned he could transform into a young boy.
Oh.
What?
Huh?
Spooky. His inner child despised everything Scar stood for, but Scar only had one thing on his mind: to find the Hulk and kill him for abandoning him on Sakaar.
Oh wow, okay. Well, is that part of the same story, or is it a different arc completely? Because there's another one where that same issue I think happens, but then the Hulk blames like all of the Avengers on his son's death. So then that's what kind of starts World War Hulks.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
Like, it was like, I think it ends up. It's obviously not true, and like
right.
Like somebody is puppeteering from the behind, like Galactus or Kang or something like that, but I can't remember.
Yeah. I think it might be like different timeline, possibly different. You know how they like to do with characters sometimes.
It's all so confusing.
Yeah. So he's an interesting guy. To be
very interesting.
Thrown into this.
His introduction felt very we've had a lot of these now. The Hercules introduction felt very similar. It was just like,
totally. It's like,
who's this random person?
All right.
Yeah, we're getting all these like sons of people. And then like, or the end of this was probably the most random, but the end of Eternals with the introduction of I'm inevitable. What's his name?
Oh yeah, it's shoot, what the heck is his name? With the sword.
He likes to snap his fingers, and he's purple.
Oh, Thanos?
Thanos.
No,
Thanos' brother, right?
Thanos' brother. Yes,
Yes.
Thanos'
Thank
brother.
you. My God.
Help
Am I
us all.
even a Marvel fan? Apparently not.
No, there's a lot of characters. You can't
There's
possibly
so
know
many
them all.
characters. I think I have like a bank of maybe 20 characters at a time. And then
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah. Sorry, so She-Hulk.
Yeah, so back to She-Hulk. Yeah, so we kind of jumped ahead to the post-credit scene, but
We're bibbity bobbity booping everywhere.
I do really enjoy the I think just Jen and Matt Murdock's chemistry.
Yeah, it's cute.
Charlie Cox and Tatiana Maslany.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure it's going to be like
they're...
it's assumedly a long distance relationship, so I'm sure things are going to get complicated between the two of them.
Of course.
Well, and also we're aware that Matt Murdock has other relationships.
Of course.
Yeah. That I assume that they're going to explore in his show, but I guess it's not super safe to assume, but
yeah. I guess I'm just like, I'm glad that like the stuff that I thought was like kind of lame about the show, they did away with in the finale.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Like her just like straight up being like, okay, the stealing my blood thing, this is like super soldier serum. Like,
it's the same
are we really doing this? Like, come on, there's so many other things we could do.
Yes.
Yeah, that and like, the
getting rid of the CGI battle that was about to ensue. They're like, no.
Exactly. Bringing Bruce in to like help fight with her in that scene, like
out of nowhere. Yeah.
Out of just absolute nowhere. We haven't heard from him since the literal second episode of the series.
Yeah.
So yeah. I thought that like you, I thought that the first and the last episodes were the absolute strongest.
Yeah, for sure, by far. In fact, I like to do this on IMDb. They do like kind of like an episode by episode like kind of review system. I want to see what they thought. I mean, they were fairly harsh on the show for sure. Yeah. Actually, do you want to know what the highest rated one on IMDb is? Do you want to guess? I'll just give you a hint. It's not the first or the last.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that the highest rated was episode 3.
No, it actually was Ribbit and Rip It.
It was Ribbit and Rip It.
The penultimate episode.
Okay.
Yes.
With Matt Murdock arriving and okay.
I mean, it was an eventful episode. But yeah,
Oh, also one thing that I for some reason didn't clock until the finale.
Yeah.
Was the facility where where Emil Blonsky Abomination was being kept.
Yes.
That was the DODC, the Department of Damage Control,
right?
Which we saw a lot of them in Miss Marvel,
right? And also Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spider-Man, but yeah, they were quite a big role in both those. Yeah, for some reason I didn't like clock that at all, and I was like, oh, that's where he's being held, the DODC. Okay,
yeah, they're going to be sort of an overarching thing, at least for this phase. Not sure how long they're going to be around, but I mean they'll probably be around for quite some time. But yeah.
Okay, so
like
Ribbit and Rip It.
Yes,
Ribbit and Rip It was the highest rated on IMDb.
On IMDb, right?
Okay.
And that's out of like almost 12,000 reviews. It's a lot. And that's a thing I don't understand completely about IMDb reviews is I think that they're user reviews, but I think they're also like professional users. I don't know. I could be
okay.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
Yeah. So let's talk about where we think potentially She-Hulk Jen Walters might be appearing in upcoming MCU
Well, it's an
projects.
interesting question because as far as her own show goes, it sounds like at least we won't be seeing her next year. Like
Right.
there is no future there is no future for She-Hulk. No.
There is no future. You're welcome. That was the first one of the
There it
day.
was. Oh my god, and it was you. That was so nice.
Whoa, 45 minutes in.
Oh woo woo woo. At
Well, we
least the
did talk
first
about
the first
Oklahoma.
conscious one.
Yeah, we
Yes.
talked about Oklahoma earlier, but we
did do that. Yeah, that's true. But we didn't sing any songs.
No, that's what I mean.
So, but yeah, because I actually saw numerous articles about this. That you know, could be just them like throwing shit in the wind and like it's all BS because they're not allowed to because Kevin will be very upset if they say what's in the future. But nothing has obviously been announced. There's no She-Hulk season 2 as of yet. And if there's any plans for it, only the top tier people at Marvel Studios know about it. But because even the actors are allegedly unaware. She's obviously open to another season. But people are kind of seeming that it might not happen, which I think, I don't know, if they could keep up the vibe that they ended with in another season, I think it'd be so fun. And
yeah, I do too.
But more than likely, I think what you were alluding to is that we'll see them. The next time we actually see her will be in somebody else's thing, or potentially like a group thing.
Yeah, I think my prediction for her next appearance is going to be Secret Invasion.
Ooh, okay, yeah, I could see. Oh,
yeah. She's
totally.
she's in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
She-Hulk's in the comics of Secret Invasion.
Oh, and also potentially I don't know. It counts. It counts. But probably the second season of What If too.
Yeah. Very, very likely.
Easy.
Since she's a new character, and that'll be fascinating to see different What If She-Hulk scenarios.
Yeah. Maybe they'll explore her ability to
I think, my guess is probably Secret Invasion is the next. Potentially she might be involved or at least have a cameo in the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh yeah, sure.
Is
there precedent for that? Because honestly, I don't know. I'm
there is, because in the comics she teams up with Fantastic Four.
Oh really?
All the time.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So I think that's a possibility, even if it's just like a cameo situation.
Sure.
In Fantastic Four.
But God, that's so long from now. It's a 2024 or 2025.
25, I think was.
I know that they
Fantastic
pushed back
Four.
numerous things. Like Blade got pushed back a whole year.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that phase has been pushed back.
Yeah. But yeah, my prediction for sure for next appearance would be on the Secret Invasion series.
I think that's fair. Yeah. It'd be very fun.
And I cannot wait for that series.
I know. I'm interested too.
By the way, if you're like, I think I maybe will like to read comic books, and you don't want to be overwhelmed by picking something from the very beginning.
Yes.
Secret Invasion is an 8-book arc.
Yes.
That's it. So, yeah,
and it does come it comes in one giant book too, if you want to get.
You can get it in a giant book, or you can get it. I have the individual books, but those are pretty easy to find, or you can read them online if getting a physical book is not your jam. But
are there numerous versions of it, or is it just the one?
Just the one.
Just the one.
Secret Invasion is just a
Secret Wars. I think is the one that has different versions. Am I crazy?
Secret Wars is just a really, really long arc.
Yeah.
It's like 50 books or something.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Dang.
But Secret Invasion is 8 books. So
easy.
that's an easy thing, and it would be, if you're like interested in seeing how you like reading comic books and seeing how it like correlates with
Well, yeah,
with a live action project.
yeah, because it's just about to come out. Might be some spoilers though.
Well, definitely.
Because they have been, at least relatively speaking, pretty true to the material. Like, I think that a lot of people are, like, as far as when you're, like, speculating about future things, it's usually pretty safe to assume that they're going to go not too far away from what the comics did.
No. Yeah, that So yeah, that's kind of those are kind of my thoughts on the She-Hulk.
I think those are great thoughts. I think those are nice thoughts.
Thank you so much.
Anything
else you want to add?
Yeah, there was one more thing. I was actually, speaking of future things, I mean, now that we've introduced Matt Murdock into this whole picture, and he's obviously got his own show coming up, like, assumedly his show is going to have a little bit more of a serious tone.
Sure, that would make sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna go, PG-13 or more than that, but like the Netflix version was, because that was rated R. Like, I think if you were gonna probably put it on,
Yeah. I couldn't watch it.
Mature watching.
MA.
So yeah, I'm curious if they go the mature route with his show, especially because they presented him in this kind of very this is the first time we've seen Matt Murdock in like really like light clothing,
lighthearted,
like super. Yeah. He's like a super sweet, like just like I love seeing him like that, and he's so freaking charming.
He really is. It's like he's one of those people where it's like, is there anything that you're like not very good at?
Gosh darn it.
I don't think so.
But yeah, I guess my question is though, like, is there a place for She-Hulk in his show? Like, would she fit in that?
Like stylistically, would it make sense for her to appear?
Yeah.
And would she like match the tone of his show, kind of the way he matched the tone of hers?
Yes. That.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that working. I mean,
it would be a tightrope walk for sure, but I it would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, and that is a thing that happens so frequently in comic books.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, if characters are like, if he first made an appearance in her book, and then it's like, well, then she, goes over and
it does suck up a lot of budget, though. If you want to add her as, I wish she could just come there as a person.
Maybe it's just a phone call. Maybe it's a FaceTime conversation.
Yeah. That's that. If I were gonna put my money on anything, I think it would be like a really cute like text message, or
or it would just be like
her FaceTiming as her as
Jen Walters.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
As Jen, not as She-Hulk.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that definitely could happen. Wouldn't surprise me at all, and might be a little moment of levity even on the Deadpool series.
Yeah.
I mean, not like, not as like silly as stuff that happened on She-Hulk, but
Daredevil,
just a little moment of a little moment of levity if she were to go on his show.
Yeah. I'm very excited for that. That show comes out not next year, does it?
Okay. I think next year.
Is it next year? Oh my God! Next year is going to be very eventful.
Let's see. Let's check this before we say adieu. Show Disney Plus. What do we got? What do we got?
Boop boop beep beep beep. Tick 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 tick.
When are you supposed to come out?
That's my vigorously typing noises. Or tap dancing.
Yeah, I don't think they haven't announced an actual
date
time yet.
They did have an order though, so it's gonna we just know when it's gonna go, like at least what order it's gonna be in.
It's spring of 2024.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Popping up here.
That sounds right.
So,
that sounds right.
Yeah.
Great, super great. We got lots of time a lot of time to plan.
Yeah.
And
hopefully I'll be okay watching the Disney Plus version. Fingers crossed.
Oh yeah, Yeah, I imagine.
I think it's safe. I think it's. I think I should be okay.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that they which I'm sure a lot of people are going to be not as happy about, but like I feel like it will be tamer than the Netflix version. I'm preparing myself for that.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
Just,
prepping myself. One other thing. I don't know why I just didn't think about it before, but like also seeing the actual writer of the show in the show was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, both.
That was a cute cameo.
Yeah, both Jessica Gao and I think somebody else also had a little cameo on it. I read that. Boopy bop, boopy bop.
A boopy bop, boopy bop.
Boopy bop.
But yeah, that's also going back to the idea of it being like a pocket dimension, because like technically, I mean, if she was breaking into our universe, then Kevin Feige would be like a real person, and the writers' room
Potentially.
From what I understand, that
I know, but in our universe, like the Avengers and stuff aren't aware of Kevin Feige as a person.
Right.
So,
well, they're not aware. Technically, they're not. They shouldn't be aware of our universe.
yeah, that's true.
So, so this
Confusing.
is this.
I feel that thing happening that happened during Loki.
where you're really, really in pain. Yeah.
I feel that thing happening, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it is fun to think about though. So yeah, it's not. She didn't break into our universe. So is she looking at us? Maybe she's not. Maybe she's looking at another pocket universe, but we're just seeing her look
At them.
At them. Yeah. Yeah. Spooky and weird. Anyways, those are my final thoughts.
Head hurts.
Something to leave you with. Sorry.
Just a little mind bender for you on the way out.
Sorry to bang your brain.
Smash.
I'm smashing your brain.
Yeah.
I would like to smash Murdock too, actually. Really.
I think you're not alone there. Most people have feelings about that guy.
I do. I really do.
Anyhow, that was our sort of season wrap up of She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
And that was fun.
Let us know what you thought.
Yes,
Mention in the
please.
comments or send us a message and tell us what you thought worked or didn't work.
Or even if you hate us, that's fine. You can tell us that too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't really encourage that.
No, definitely no. But if you love us, now that
you can say that.
That's
you can
fine.
say that.
That's fine.
We're fragile.
But also
anyways.
make sure that you are on our Instagram, because make all of our announcements about new episodes
make all of
there.
Our stuff goes from Instagram.
Yes, at Inside the Tauntaun. Don't forget about it.
Yes. So thanks for listening or watching. If you're watching us on YouTube,
Yeah, because that's
can see
a
what
thing.
we're doing with. You can see what we're doing with our hands.
Yeah,
right now.
look
if
at
you're
this.
watching us on YouTube, only YouTube people can see that.
How fun.
Anyways,
you must be so
fun.
jealous.
Yeah, and if you feel like, trying listening or watching on YouTube, we're up on that platform as well. This is Inside the Tauntaun, a podcast in the multiverse of fandom.
It is.
I'm Alyssa Simmons.
And I'm Daniel Dawson.
May the force be with you.
Always. Scary. See ya.
That was Dino. See ya.
Inside the Tauntaun podcast, please like and subscribe.